Hey guys, welcome back to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson. We're in episode 5 of our series on metabolic positioning. So we covered bloodstream, liver glycogen, muscle glycogen. We're moving into how you can actually tap into body fat cells for deeper, more efficient fat loss, a higher percent of fat loss consistently. That's the gold standard. That's what we want as any dieter, but especially as competitors trying to protect lean body mass. And so, Adam, the reason why you and I don't subscribe to just ketogenesis, keto diet here, we don't need carbs. We're gonna maximize this whole process by just getting rid of all carbs so the body has to use fat as energy. There are some advantages to that, there's no doubt. But there are far more disadvantages, one of which is catabolism. You lose that protective mechanism. Even when you become keto adaptive, even though you can become up to 40% better at using fat as energy, that's only 40% better. That's protection against starvation. That doesn't mean it's optimal. So you and I agree that some carbohydrate still matters so that we can protect muscle tissue, but we can still get there, even though it's a little bit slower, we can still get there, protect that muscle tissue and tap into body fat stores with carbohydrates. So do you have any anything that you tell clients to make sure that they understand that?
Yeah, well, if you're losing body fat, you're already releasing, triglycerides and turning those into fatty acids. So it just really doesn't make sense to add a bunch of fat and fatty acids into your system when you could, in return, replace those calories with carbohydrates and also keep the metabolism faster. And I feel like people really derail hard when they come off a ketogenic diet. And I think a lot of people look at keto as a really quick fix. And why it attracts a lot of people is going back to that liver and muscle glycogen. You cut carbs out and you start doing a lot of fats and, a moderate amount of protein, you're going to have a lot of water loss. And that's what attracts people. Everyone's great dieting for 2 weeks, but show me the 4 and 5 and 8 and 20 weekers, and that's going to be a different story.
Yeah. And I will say, I have had a few people who love keto dieting, and very few. I can only count 2 right now in my entire 25 year career coaching. And 2 that have really done it successfully, and they actually liked it. But I still think there's a cost. Those people who have done it still look better, and they function better with some carbohydrate. So there is a concession, but they like what they don't have to deal with, which is some of the hunger swings that you may get with your insulin levels changing a little bit. As your body gets keto adapted, it's absolutely true that hunger goes down. But you can't go back and forth. These are not people who, have a big, higher carb meal or something once a week or twice a week, or they binge and say, okay, now I'm back on track. These are militant ketogenic dieters. That is the only way you can survive. I still do not think it's optimal, but it shows how you can get to that faster body fat loss, much, much quicker. And it's maximal. But like you said, Adam, you still have to get your calories from somewhere. So you're just adding fat into your diet instead of carbohydrates. And so you still have to create a place where you're deciding how much is coming from my food in terms of calories and how much calorie deficit have I created. And I just don't see the advantage, but you do create a more catabolic environment without carbs. So there's just no question that you risk muscle loss, especially as you get leaner, if you're not going to use any carbohydrate.
Yeah, sometimes you have to meet clients in the middle too. If they're really wanting to do keto, you'll just go a little, lower carbs than you normally would go, and maybe a lot higher fat than you normally would go. And a lot of times they'll trick people and they're like, wow, I actually feel really good here. And you can start pulling down fats and bringing carbs up slowly. I would never recommend that you just, start non-keto on somebody that's been keto. It's going to be a pretty big shift for them.
Yeah, and it's a physiological shift. I mean, your body definitely does adapt. But the one thing to remember, guys, is in this whole series on metabolic positioning, we're moving from maintenance or body fat gain into body fat loss, going through these segmental positions or actual energy substrate uses, the percentages, to get to that maximum efficiency. And for us, that's not with the pedal down to the floor. It's not redlining your fat usage internally. You got to have a little bit left over for sparing lean body mass, for giving yourself enough energy for good training. And so there is definitely a sweet spot in terms of getting to maximum fat loss where it's still sustainable, survivable. Your metabolism is not becoming suppressed at a level that would be just inappropriate. So there's so many advantages to find out what is that perfect spot for you. And I can say, Adam, for me, historically, I can lose a pound a week of body fat and feel very comfortable. I don't have to have super low carb, super high cardio. And that's an important thing to understand, is how much food does it take to get me to that maximum metabolic position, and yet I still get all of the benefits of retaining muscle mass, feeling great, and being able to sustain it.
Absolutely. I just started dieting this week, actually. So I'm down 6 pounds in just like 3 days. It was pretty quick water loss. Yeah. I think that's why my wife was disappointed that I wasn't that crazy about being down 6 pounds, because I know it's just not real body fat.
Man, we could have been talking about you this whole time as an example
I know, right?
Of metabolic positioning, because now you, after going through that week, after 3 or 4 days, you're in that position where your body is now going to adapt. It's going to get easier. Any hunger you're feeling now will probably diminish. And so, yeah, we'll talk about that maybe in a series coming up. We'll track your progress as we move forward.
That sounds good. I like it.
All right, guys, thanks again for watching the Contest Prep University series on metabolic positioning, and we'll catch you next time with a new series.